Hello YouTube, it's Jake here again from Canadian Cutting Edge. I want to bring to you some knives where I goofed. I messed up. I ended up buying clones. I ended up buying knives that are not what they say they are. And I want to share them with you today. Hopefully you won't make the same mistakes I make. Alright, let's start with the one on the far left. This knife is probably the only one that wasn't really a mistake. But I just want to share with you anyways something about knives that you can get that don't have a name on them. I got this knife on Amazon, amazon.ca. I paid $15 Canadian for it. That's going to be like $11 American. It said it didn't have a brand name. It was just a knife. This is a great knife. It's got some good weight to it. I really like that, the way the blade, it's got that real aggressive point, a decent belly on it. Yeah, it's some cheap metal. It sharpens real easy and it gets dull real easy. It's a cool little knife. So on this knife, I got what I paid for. It's a knife that I don't know what it is. See there, you can see the metals, but they didn't laminate everything together very well. Right where my thumb is there. It's a cheap knife. A cheap knife at a cheap price. I got what I asked for. How about here? I wanted a nice little CRKT neck knife. If I can get the light just right here. A nice little Tanto blade CRKT neck knife. I didn't pay very much for it, right around $10 US. You know, a nice thin little blade. Wait a minute, what's that? Is that a Phillips head screw that I see right there? Look at that. They used a screw to be the point that holds the knife in the sheath. And that's what keeps it from falling out when you're walking. This is not a real CRKT knife. This is a cheap blade that, you know, it's flat on one side. The grind just goes on the one angle down. I tried to sharpen it. It just wouldn't sharpen very well. I could barely tear paper with it. I can't cut paper with it. I can barely tear paper with it. It's got some decent little jimping up here, and it's got a nice choil and another choil for the thumb, you know. You want to sneak up on it. You know, you got the nice jimping. It's just a glorified letter opener. I got ripped off. It's not even worth $5. This knife to me is useless because I wanted a CRKT and I didn't get what I wanted. Screw. A screw to hold it in place. Does it hold it? Yeah, it holds it in place. You know, a little bit of wiggle side to side. But it's not coming out unless I pull quite hard. But it's not the knife I wanted. How about another neck knife? Look at this. This thing says it's a Smith & Wesson. Look at that blade. Well, the sheath anyways. A nice aggressive Tanto there. I like this here. The CRKT, the fake CRKT, had that screw holding in place. This has got a nice little, you know, piece of plastic coming out to hold it in place. You have to pull pretty hard to get it to start moving. I guess I should go on this side because this side is where the blade isn't. So you can snap it out pretty good. You know, it's got some decent jimping there and there. It looks okay, nice flow-through design. You can get a good purchase on it. But when you take it out, what happened to that nice Tanto blade that I had ordered? Ha! It's not there. I don't think this knife is what it claims to be either. The metal on this one's a little bit better than that fake CRKT. The metal on this fake Smith & Wesson takes an edge. It cuts pretty decently. I can get it just barely to cut paper. But look at that. Like, how could they mess that up? Well, okay, they ran out of the proper sheaths. And so the guy who's pirating these, or girl, I don't know who's doing it, decided just to stick this knife in there and sell it that way. There's another way you can tell. If you get a knife, especially a neck knife, there's a way to very easily tell on the pictures, if they show pictures of the sheath, and if it has a whistle on it, 99 times out of 100, that means it's a fake. The whistle's pretty cool. A warning, this might get loud. Wow, that's a good whistle. But it's a fake knife. Ripped off again. Does it have some value? This one has a little more value to me than the other one. This is a good knife to, you go camping and you want something really cheap that you don't care if you lose it or not on you. Not that it's good to lose a knife, because people can come across a knife, children and stuff, and hurt themselves. But it's a cheap knife. I wouldn't mind if I had to pry with this thing. This is a really rough and ready knife. Do with it whatever you want. If it breaks, there ain't no tears coming from me, because it's not what I bought. All right, how about this? Oh, you look at that and you say, hey, that looks like a SOG fielder. That's what I said. It looks like a SOG fielder. But it's not. It's not a genuine one. Wow, this liner and the wood scales, the fit and finish is terrible. But worse than that, these liners, when I got them, they were sharp. If I put my hand into this knife and I grabbed tight, I would get little nicks along the palm of my hand right there, because those edges were that sharp. I took a diamond file and I went over them. Those edges won't bother me anymore. It's the blade's too thin. The blade looks nice. It's got a nice drop point, decent belly on it. It says SOG Fielder on it. The thumb stud is a one-way thumb stud, a one side only. You can take it out and move it to the other side if you want to. Not a big deal. But if you take a close look at all the different things on this knife, look at this. You can see the fit and finish right there, where the liner, and it's making a space with the bolster. You see that kind of bad fit and finish all over the place. I've adjusted the screw once to tighten up this knife, and it just chewed up. I don't know if you can see it clearly or not. It just chewed up the screw. And this screw is how you know it's a fake. Or perhaps a second that they did wrong and they threw out. The screw with the head on it is supposed to be on this side, so that you can put a driver through the clip and into the screw and tighten or loosen. But they put the smooth side under the clip. That hole there is useless because they put it on the wrong way. I've seen a lot of these pictures of them, and the fake ones all have this backwards from the ones I've seen. This knife is really common on eBay. I think I paid about $12 US for it. I got free shipping from China. It took a month and a week, 5-6 weeks to get here. And when it got here, I first opened it, I thought it looked pretty cool, but it's not what it says it is. And the metal on this blade is garbage. I don't even know if you can see how it didn't really sharpen that well. You can sort of see it at that angle if you've got a really high resolution. Hopefully this comes out good. It just chews up paper. It doesn't cut very well. It doesn't flip. It's, if I make this any looser, then it's terribly free, and it's already loose side to side and up and down. If I make it any looser to be able to flip it open better, barely got it that time, but I really got to try hard. Usually it doesn't come out all the way. It has no really good detent holding it from falling open. It'll just, it comes open as easily as it goes closed. It's just, I had high hopes for this knife, but I ended up getting burned. All right, let's see what else we got here. Look at that, here's a Boker. Hopefully I can get that to focus really well, because on this knife, it's the label that's a real clear giveaway. I'm going to put in a still shot of what that label should look like. Okay, I'm back. The scales are just cheap. I don't even know if they're ABS. I think they're even cheaper plastic than that. They have a very bad feel on it. They're just slick. I think this knife, there's no way I can get decent purchase on it. The liner lock has got a little bit of jimping on it, so you can take it off. That's the only thing that's going to give you any grip on the bottom. And this tiny bit of, well, that's not really jimping. It's really smooth. Your finger just slides over that. The clip is the only half decent thing on it. It's got a fair bit of stiffness to it, and yet it slides in and out of the pocket quite well. It's got a really high carry though. Look at that. Look how high that thing's going to carry. You can't adjust it anywhere. This knife, after this video's done, is going into my pile of knives that I practice sharpening on. You know, if I want to try a different edge, if I want to try, a different steepness, the bevel degree on it and stuff, I'm going to use this blade to practice on. Just like I'm going to use, this blade to practice on, and this blade to practice on. All of these things. I'm going to use them for practice. I'm not going to throw them in the garbage quite yet. Once I'm done with them, I'll throw them out. But I got ripped off on this too. That was about $11 US that I paid for this. Okay, finally for today, I want to take a look at this knife. This is a nice knife. I like this knife, even though it's a clone. The scales are nice. It came with a decent, ball chain necklace. The holes are, the proper 1.5 inches apart. You can mount it however you want. It holds on nice and tight. Comes out when you want it to. Look at this. This says it's the Timberline Mini Pit Bull. But it's not. Again, the logo's in one spot where it's messed up. The registered mark after Timberline, the R with a circle around it, and the TM after Bull, those are too large. On the real Timberline Mini Pit Bull, those are smaller graphics. The other thing is, on the genuine Timberline Mini Pit Bull, the blade's thicker. The steel, I haven't seen any of the genuine ones painted black. I'm not saying there aren't any, but I can't find any that are painted black. They're all just, the silver metal-y color. I don't know what kind of metal this is, but it's a decent metal. It's not great. It's not good. It's a decent metal, though. It takes an edge. It keeps an edge for a little while. The scales, I really think that's genuine G10. It's got a bit of grip to it. It's got a nice fine pattern on it. This scale did come a little bit loose, and I haven't been able to tighten it down to get it to stay quite right. They messed up on that just a bit. Oh, there you go. That looks better. So the scales are G10, and they're decent, but they're not quite right. There's a good little lanyard hole there. It's a decent knife. I hold it and I just get the 4-finger grip. I got the nice jimping there, nice jimping here. And I can sneak up on it even more if I'm going to do some whittling. I can get a good hold of this knife. Again, this is the kind of blade that I wouldn't mind taking with me when I'm, going out in the bush and I'm going out somewhere where, I might never go again. So if I lose it, it's gone. It's not that big a deal. From all these knives that I've shown you today, this is the knife I like the most. Am I going to get a genuine Timberline pit bull, mini pit bull? I think I'll be ordering one soon, because I'm sure the genuine is going to be even better than this. And this is a decent clone. It's a decent fake knife for the $7 I paid for it. Not bad. So what's the moral here? What am I trying to say with all this? I'm saying be careful. When you go shopping, especially on a site like eBay, you're going to end up getting a lot of blades presented to you that are not worth what they're asking for. There's going to be a lot of fakes out there. I'm going to do a separate video talking about how you can keep from getting ripped off on eBay. But this video is getting too long. I got to cut it off here. Just remember, guys, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb. Bye now.